Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner and I have a treat for you today, and it's unfortunate how this treat happened. As you might know, this is the Asics Superblast and this is my shoe of the year. In fact, it is my favorite shoe of all time. I've worn over 100 different pairs of running shoes, and this is my favorite shoe of all time, the Asics Superblast. Now, I wanted a second pair, so I ended up acquiring these, but these are fakes. I didn't know they were fakes because if I did, I wouldn't have bought them. So what I'm going to share with you is why. Firstly, why they're fakes, how you can spot them, and I know that these shoes tend to be a lot cheaper than these, the fakes over the originals. Are they good value for money? The clear answer is, and I'll explain better why as we go through this video, but the answer is no. They are not even better value for money. They are the horror. In fact, okay, let's start with that. That's how I discovered that they were fakes. So I took them out for a run, park run yesterday. So a warm up, park run, and a warm down. And I didn't feel good. My legs felt glassy, they felt slow, they felt sore. My time wasn't great. I wanted to kick in. I wasn't getting much out of them. And it was only later that night I thought, hold on, it might actually be these shoes. And it occurred to me then. So I took a closer look at the shoes and I found, and thankfully, because I've got a legitimate pair, I was able to compare the legitimate pair to the fake pair, and I noticed pretty quickly that this pair is counterfeit. So yeah, let's go through all the points, but that's how I discovered it, just literally taking them for a run, and they feel markedly different. So I know someone has commented on one of my videos before when I was talking about this shoe before I had this one, saying that they buy counterfeit versions of this because they find them much better value for money. Now, I had no idea what they were talking about because I'd never run in a counterfeit shoe before. But what I can tell you is these two are not the same shoe. Quite obviously, they're not the same because one's counterfeit. But what I'm saying is they're not the same because they perform markedly differently. They are not even close. This shoe is amazing. This shoe is just, it's horrid. So not only is it against the law to be making shoes like this, but it should be a crime because of the quality of the shoe. Visually though, I'd say that this shoe, if you didn't know better, does look like the authentic article visually. But in terms of feel and the way it runs, miles different. There are some visual giveaways, so let's get into those now. So, and I've got some photos I'll pop up as I go through, but some things, if I showed you the photo, you wouldn't be able to see the difference. And the first thing is that's the tongue. So when you squeeze the tongue of the counterfeit, I'll call it just the fake shoe, there's just no padding, no cushioning. I mean, it looks like there is, but there's nothing there. In the Asics, I'm going to call it the Asics because that's the only one that is the Asics. You can feel it. It's there. When you look at the toe box, there's quite a bit of a difference right at the stitching at the end of the toe box. So the stitching here is single stitched. The stitching on the Asics is double stitched. When you look inside the shoe, the stitching inside the shoe is, and again, I might throw up photos where it's easier to see, is just this cross stitch, where the stitching inside on the Asics is a much better quality stitching. You can obviously see the difference. Even with the insole on the Asics, the stamp on the bottom is replicated in the fake, but some of the lettering on the stamp on the fake is back to front. It has an R on it, and the R is back to front. The laces though, little things like that, you noticed a difference in the weave. Okay, the sole itself, that's where some of the midsole and the outsole, that's where some of the big differences are. Let's talk about the outsole first and then we'll talk about the midsole. Now the outsole, this pair, The Asics have done 500 kilometers. This pair here, when the person sold them to me, I understand that they did about 40 kilometers in them, and I've only done about 20 kilometers in it. But let's round it up. Let's say 100. It's not, but let's say it's 100. The wear is essentially the same. So 500 kilometers, in fact, it's actually better on this shoe, which means the outsole on this shoe is just burning away, absolutely burning. There's no way the compound is even similar, even the same. What you do see in the Asics is with some of the exposed midsole, you can see that's burning away, where that's not quite the same on the fake, but the outsole itself, the rubber, is absolutely burning away. And in some places on the fake, which has been less than 100 kilometers old, it's 60. If the data that I've received from the previous owner is accurate, it's 60 kilometers. It is worse than 500 kilometers on the Asics Superblast. Okay, let's keep rolling through it, because the big one's still to come. And the big tip, when you look at the injection mold marks, they are different on the two shoes. So on the Asics, there is considerably more injection mold marks. So when you look at the back of the shoe, around the heel counter, there's a number of mold marks there. Mold marks where it does the injection mold, and there's a little bump on the outside where there's none on the back of this. And that goes for the side and just everywhere you look. So the injection mold marks, considerably more on the Asics than on the fake. Lettering, of course, when you look at the FF Turbo for that foam that's used in the midsole, that lettering is cleaner and crisper, where the lettering is slightly blurred and the font's not 100% the same. So you've got those. You won't see it here visually, but when you do the stack height and you compare them next to each other, oh, maybe you can. It is, and I had it on the floor when I took the photo, but the stack height of the midsole is higher on the Asics, and also where it goes under your ankle was higher on the Asics too, where it cups on the upper. Oh, now interestingly, let's talk about the upper. So the gentleman who sold me this pair here, US 10, this is a US 10. The upper on this is way more vague. So this feels more like an 11. It's a horrible feel. And again, that was something I noticed yesterday in my run with it, because the socks I usually wear for this, I wore with my run in this one. Actually, and here's another telltale sign. You can see the upper here, nice and smooth and across. We're here. Can you see how it sort of juts out a little bit? So really, really vague upper, lots of loose material. And then again, you won't perhaps see this, and you can only really see it when you put it side to side. But when you look at the Flight Foam Blast indentations, a lot cleaner on the Asics, and on the fake, just, a little bit blurry. Other sort of markings on the outsole you can see. Now here's the big one. Here is the big one. I threw these on the scales. So I only discovered it was a fake when I went for a run yesterday, and it felt terrible. Or I felt terrible. And then I thought, is it the shoes? Looked at the shoes. I could start to see differences. And I thought, check the weight. The weight will tell you, because if there's one thing the fakes don't do, is they don't replicate the weights of the originals, or at least I guessed, right? And I think I'm right. I know I'm right in the case of these shoes. This, in the US size 10, the Asics, 245 grams. Have a quick guess what the weight was in this. 320 grams. 320 versus 245. 75 gram difference for what supposedly is the same shoe. So when as I say, someone commented on one of my previous posts when I was talking about this shoe being shoe of the year, how they buy the fakes and they find them just as good. I can tell you it's not the same shoe, not even close. We're talking a 75-gram difference between the two shoes. Now, I took this shoe out for a run this morning to compare to my experience with this shoe yesterday. World of difference. World of difference. Much faster with much less effort. This thing pops and it rolls. I would say, it looks like the shape of the midsole is the same. I was going to say maybe they haven't even got the shape the same. But the foam can't be the same foam. Well, it doesn't even feel the same. And then where's all that extra weight come from? Because 75 grams is not a heavier either outsole or upper. So that's a lot of midsole that's different, which says different foam as well. So anyway, there we go. So a couple of things. One is be really wary about buying shoes that when someone posts them and they say it's not the right size for them, because depending on the brand of shoe, some brands will take the shoes back if they're not the right size. So for that brand, if they're saying, hey, it's not the right size, then they've actually got an ability to return the shoe, which is better than on selling it. Unless, of course, they bought it for a massive discount and then they want to not only get their money back, but a little bit more. And fair play if that's the case. But as I say, be wary, because I think Asics I know Nike had a good return policy, so you'd never on-sell the shoes. You can just return them just as easy. So be wary about those brands that accept returns, but someone's selling them saying it's the wrong size. Because if they can't return them, then they probably didn't buy them direct from a reputable organization. That's the first tip. The second tip is this. Get them to send you a photo of the shoes on the scales, and you can do one of two things. If you've already got the shoe yourself, you can check, which is what I wanted. I wanted an exact replica of what I've got, so I can alternate day to day. I'm not burning out this version of the Superblast. And in New Zealand and Australia, we couldn't get them. So the fact that someone had them, and it wasn't the right size for them, I thought it was perfect for me. But get them to put the shoe on the scale and take a photo and send it through, and that could save both you and them a lot of, I was going to say angst, anxiety, why not? So get them to weigh the shoes, put them on the scale and send them through. So you will either weigh your shoe and you'll know the exact weight, or you can go online and look at the specs. And if they're not within a couple of grams, then I mean, look at this, a 75-gram difference. There it is, all there in a nutshell. Okay, that's it. So that's, I don't know what to do with these. Well, I'm sending them back. What I'm saying is, I don't know what you would do if you've got them. Look, it's one of the very few pairs of shoes that I bought online. So you play that game, you get burnt every so often, right? As I say, the gentleman I'm dealing with seems to be a real authentic character, and we're gonna sort it out. He's gonna sort it out for me. I mean, because the shoe he sold me is counterfeit, so taking it back, really cool. As I say, I'll update everything in the comments below. But look, I would have bought the shoe at Shoe Clinic or some reputable retailer if they were in stock. I don't mind paying extra and knowing that I'm getting the right shoe. So in terms of value, I know you can get these for whatever. Even if this is half the price of this, even if this is a fifth the price of this, it is not worth it. And I'll tell you why I just said a fifth. Because remember, the wear and tear, I said this isn't even 100 kilometers. This is 500 kilometers. It's the same wear. So all of a sudden, this shoe's only worth a fifth of this shoe. And remember, the quality of the shoe, 75 grams heavier than the shoe. And the foam is different. It feels horrible in the shoe compared to this shoe. So, I mean, this shoe isn't even worth 5% of this shoe if you take those into account. That the wear is going to be 5 times faster, that you're carrying an extra 75 grams, and that the foam doesn't respond as well. I mean, this shoe is not even worth it. You're probably risking an injury, to be honest, running with this shoe. And if you're the company that makes these, don't. Why? You could literally improve it and release it under your own brand. Come up with your own brand. It's actually not that bad in terms of its finish and everything. Just go to the next degree and take a bit of pride in what you do and release your own brand. Why copy someone else's? Well, I know why, but where's your soul, man? Come on. Honestly, it's not a bad replica in terms of, I mean, the weight's appalling and the foam's crap and stuff like that. But in terms of the replication, it's really not that bad. It would easily fall. If I didn't have this shoe, then I probably would have, I don't know, worn this for a while and just thought, what's all the fuss about with Superblast? It's not that great. But it's only because I've had this shoe that when I put these on and went for that first run, I was like, no, something's not right. The shoe didn't feel right, and it occurred to me that evening. So, support your local retailer, pay the little bit more. It's way better value, and yeah, you'll have less sleepless nights. And it means you know how that shoe performs. If you have run in this shoe, the fake, you have no idea what an Asics Superblast is. So, and the gentleman who sold me this shoe is now in an Asics Blast, and that shoe, the Asics Blast, would be like 10 times better than this. In fact, I mean, this is a negative. The other shoes are positive. So how do you multiply that out? You can't even say 10 times. It's way more than that. This shoe's a negative. Okay, that's it. But check the weights. If you are going to buy it, check the weights. If you can buy locally, so if someone is selling it, authentically it's not their size, or the shoe just doesn't gel with them, because every shoe reacts with everyone differently. This is my shoe of the year. For some people, it won't be their shoe of the year, not even close, just because it doesn't work for them. That's okay, and they'll on-sell them. I've sold a lot of shoes that I've only done 50K in, and I've donated a lot of shoes that I've only run 50K in. I took the whole hit and I gave it to someone who couldn't afford to buy some shoes. So consider that. Consider just donating your shoes. I donate a lot of my shoes. It's not, especially if you're going to look to sell them for $50. It's such a pain. Anyway, check the weight. If you want the one rule for all, that would be it. Check the weight. My blood runs cold when I think about these things. I cannot wait to get rid of them. What a waste of the Earth's resources, honestly. I mean, we talk about how do we recycle these and stuff. At least, I'm going to get 1,000K out of this or something close to it. This is the waste of the Earth's resources. Okay, that's it. Any questions? Let me know. Follow my update in the comments. All I want to do is see the back of them, get my money back and stuff like that. If you know if there's a process, something we should do with counterfeit shoes, like would Asics be interested in knowing about it or something like that? They're probably well aware, right? But if you know what can be done, then let us know, because this has to stop. Okay, that's it. Take care. Catch you in the next one.